And now you have to ask yourself, how did 50 come into the possession of Diddy's footage for Diddy's documentary about Diddy?
A lot of insight. And, this documentary is about people being able to tell their truth or tell their version.
For years, Katt Williams was often dismissed as an outspoken comedian who simply said too much. His remarks were laughed off, labeled as exaggerations, and quickly forgotten. That perception changed in January 2024 when he appeared on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe. Almost overnight, the tone online shifted. The laughter faded, replaced by focused attention. What made this moment different wasn't comedy, it was timing. Many of Katt's past claims began aligning with events unfolding in real time. He was no longer speaking about stand-up or industry rivalries, but about influence, deception, and an entertainment world sustained by hidden truths. He also suggested that when serious revelations about Sean Combs surfaced, they wouldn't implicate just one person. Months later, 50 Cent released the documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning. The project sparked widespread discussion, presenting clips, timelines, and patterns that had circulated quietly for years. However, viewers noticed something unusual. Several high-profile figures were absent, left unnamed and unexplored, as if deliberately excluded. That omission brought Katt Williams back into the spotlight. Online discussions began suggesting that he may have anticipated this outcome. Through earlier interviews, humor, and subtle remarks, he appeared to hint that 50 Cent could have faced pressure to leave certain individuals out of the documentary, not due to lack of evidence, but because of the influence those figures hold. One particular comment from Katt, made in early 2020, resurfaced. He spoke about individuals in the industry who could not be challenged. Not just a few. He specifically mentioned the number 7. At the time, the statement seemed vague and cryptic, but as Diddy's legal troubles escalated and the documentary gained traction, audiences revisited his words, reanalyzed his interviews, and began connecting the dots, fueling a broader and more complex theory about power within the entertainment industry.
Def Comedy Jam 25. It's good to see so many funny people together in one room, all wondering the same thing. Is Katt Williams gonna show?
The implication was clear. He wasn't acting alone. There were layers of protection around him, some tied to powerful, well-known figures whose reputations made them difficult to challenge. Katt Williams never provided a full list, nor did he explicitly identify all 7 individuals he referenced. That ambiguity didn't stop speculation. Online audiences quickly began connecting the dots, with discussions spreading and theories multiplying across platforms. As often happens, the internet filled in the gaps. Among the names that repeatedly surfaced in these conversations was Snoop Dogg.
It's audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, he also speaks on how, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. It's downloading right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey over there, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa. Wait a minute, fellas here. Hold up. I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my peoples.
For real, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We make music.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfuckers, they got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay. You know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now he
he might go by the opinion like, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. You know, we're grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual.
Observers were quick to point out that Snoop Dogg had openly spoken for years about attending gatherings hosted by Sean Combs not occasionally, but consistently over a long period. Interviews, jokes, and archived footage highlighted just how closely their social and professional circles overlapped. As online discussions intensified, additional rumors began to surface, including claims connected to Ali Carter and resurfaced stories from years past. None of it was ever confirmed, yet the sheer volume of conversation led many to question why Snoop was not mentioned at all in the documentary. Some speculated that including his name could have triggered significant backlash not just from fans, but from powerful industry networks. Snoop's influence extends far beyond music. He represents a business empire and a cultural institution with support at multiple levels. To some observers, that status placed him largely beyond scrutiny. At the same time, the mention of Kevin Hart caught many off guard. Online theories began revisiting his early career, particularly his connections. During that period, and events often referred to as flavor camp, these gatherings were allegedly linked to Diddy and described as spaces where emerging talent sought entry into the industry. Fans also started re-examining Kevin Hart's early comedy material. Certain jokes took on a different tone for some viewers, not as proof of anything, but as moments that raised new questions about what he may have seen or experienced. Speculation grew that including Hart in the documentary could have introduced serious legal and contractual complications, given the scale of his partnerships with major studios and production companies. Once again, nothing was confirmed. What remained instead was a noticeable absence of clear answers, leaving speculation to fill the space where certainty never arrived.
ET Awards went off without a hitch last night. A sense of that there. No, inside everything was fine. Outside everything was fine. And Kevin Hart decided that he was going to make jokes about, well, I mean, he's the host, right? So you have to sort of roast a little bit about someone who's in the audience because, well, this person is in a prison, or actually right now sitting in a courtroom, and that's Diddy. Yes, he didn't say his name, but it was very clear to everyone who he was talking about here. Watch the reactions in the room.
Diddy was a big part of this culture. You know, his after parties, you know, were a part of the BET experience. So, you know, life comes at you fast, but, you know, Kevin had to address the elephant in the room.
By the way, we should say the Diddy after parties that happen after award shows, that's not what the trial is about. Those weren't freak-offs. The trial is something separate, but still, nobody wanted to be seen as laughing at him.
Perhaps the quietest name linked to the situation, but for many, also one of the most telling, is Maze. His history with Bad Boy Records is well documented, marked by contract disputes, public frustration, and eventually a noticeable withdrawal from the spotlight when allegations surrounding Sean Combs began to surface. Many expected Maze to speak out. He didn't, and that silence quickly became a story in itself. Some fans believe he knows far more than he has ever revealed publicly. Others interpret his silence differently, suggesting he chose distance and personal stability over reopening old chapters. There's also speculation that his connection to the situation runs deeper and closer to its core than most realize, making any public involvement far more complicated. According to these theories, bringing Maze into the conversation would mean revisiting a past that cannot easily be unpacked or resolved, something he may have deliberately chosen to avoid.
What's going on with Kevin Hart?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
You know, the internet is going wild on him, saying that he was a curator and a narrator of one of the Diddy parties and got caught on tape. You hear that?
Wow. I didn't hear that one.
That must be one of your favorite. That must be one of your favorite comedians, then. Cause you ain't hear that?
That was cool.
Huh?
I didn't hear it.
Get out of here.
It was cool, but I didn't hear that one. Must have missed it, man. I think I caught most of them.
I think he almost fell in the tub with one of the girls. Diddy had some girls in the tub, a tub of baby oil or something like that, and he almost fell in the tub. It was crazy.
You know, he would be one of the celebrities that I definitely wouldn't think would be involved in anything illegal. For sure.
But you got to realize this, man. People who get caught up in certain those things like that, those parties and things like that, is that they don't go there looking for that stuff. You got to understand, they get caught up in the moment with the alcohol, the drugs, and then certain bottles that are laced with certain things that take you away from your normal self. And you end up probably doing something that you probably never do again in your life. You never get caught up in those things ever before. There are a lot of celebrities that go to these parties like this. And they not only Diddy parties. I went to a party before and You Can't Handle the Truth and King Kong Ain't Got Nothing on Me was at one of those parties. I was bodyguarding one of the girls. So what I'm saying is that it's rampant, and this was years ago. This was over 20 years ago. It's rampant in the music industry. It's rampant in Hollywood, film, pictures, and anything.
Can I tell you a story, Killer? I don't think I ever told you this story. This is what Puff taught me. One time I walked in when I was fresh off the streets. I got signed to Bad Boy. I had these fresh Air Nikes on, and then had on Air Nikes too, brand new. I made a mistake and stepped on his sneaker, and the dirt was on his laces, on his white Airs. I said, man, my bad, because I had stepped in some dirt. You know, the nigga came back, put his feet in the dirt, and stepped all over my sneakers. I said, yo, what are you doing? He said, my bad. I said, yo, the moral of the story is, nobody just want to hear you say you're bad.